Hi, I'm Ryan Oman.
And I'm Nicole Oman.
And together we are
the Empowering
Omens with the Golden Collective.
And today is Insightful Saturday, where we work with our third eye chakra,
Otherwise known as Ajna, or infinite power. And we're dipping into that infinite power of the subconscious by taking a look back at what we've been through this week, which, if it's anything like us, it's been a lot. We've been trudging through this week, and we kind of saw it coming on Sunday when we pulled all those cards that were in reverse. We realized there was a lot of stuck energy. There was a lot of exfoliating that needed to be done, but now that we're here, I feel like a lot of the exfoliation has been done.
And we've learned a lot of lessons, and so we have a card of new vision today. And I believe that this new vision is coming from the journey that we had from the last week and maybe the last few weeks. And it has been a bit of a long time coming. And the more we've resisted, the more that we might have gone through struggle. But it's because when we are unraveling an old thought pattern, an old dream, an old vision of ourselves and what was capable for our lives, sometimes, whether we like it or not, we're like a kid with a toy in our hand and we desperately don't want to let it go, and our daughter does this,
right?
And we're trying to get that thing away because it's not good for her.
Yes, this morning actually we went to the playground and some kids had left a bunch of either gum or taffy on the bottom of the playground, and it was all gnarled up and full of stuff. And of course I see my daughter chewing on something, and I think to myself, what is she chewing on? And I go over, and of course it's wadded up used candy that she found on the ground. But to her it was a treasure. To me it was an infestation. So another way to consider new vision is a new way of looking at things. So it can be changing your perspective. And third eye is all about perspective. So maybe the vision hasn't changed, the destination for your journey hasn't changed, but the way that you're looking at it has changed.
And the way you're coming from, when we look at something in a different perspective, we're coming from a different place. Because when we're looking at something through the eyes of like just pure desire and attainment and possession, then we're like, we will sacrifice a means to an end type of feel, right? So we'll sacrifice integrity to get that thing. But when we change the perspective, you might get that very same thing that you were trying to attain before. But if you're coming from a place of alignment, coming from a place of love or gratitude or simplicity, what's going to happen is your experience of it is going to change, your maturity is going to change. And I think that's what's really happening, because I feel like the universe has kind of pulled something out of our hands, like that gnarled little thing, right?
Totally.
And we're needing to look at it in a different way, but also it is for our greatest good, so we can see where we were getting caught, and maybe ego or maybe a sense of narrow-sightedness.
Yeah, and I think with that maturity, you have the opportunity to get that new perspective and realize that things are perfect just the way that they are. And that vision, that thing that you're trying to achieve, that dream, that goal, although it is still part of your consciousness and part of your process and part of your journey, it's not important if you can't appreciate where you are in this moment and the dream that you're having right now in the present. And what the celebration card is asking you to do is to celebrate before things look the way you want them to look. Don't wait for things to turn out the way that you hope they will. Don't wait for your prince to come. Don't wait for that huge financial windfall to celebrate life.
Because if you're always in that attainment mindset, that even when you attain, you're still going to want to attain.
Yes.
How you do one thing is how you do everything.
Anybody who's ever accomplished anything knows this.
Yes. And so this is the card we got. This is a dream card. And this girl is looking for a different sense of where she's looking to the future. Maybe one day my prince will come and that's when I'll be fulfilled. But what she's not looking at is her own inner richness and her own inner wealth and her own inner beauty and her own inner wholeness. And what this that's why they're dancing in the rain. And this week we danced a lot in the rain. I don't know about you,
hail. I think I danced in the hail.
Oh God, yeah, seriously, it really was.
Size hail.
It really was.
I think I have welts.
We got some hail. I had a lot of emotion, and I had a lot of emotion come up
We're
today.
going through hail.
And what I realized for me, we're going through hail. What I realized for
back.
What I realized for me today is I was listening to some really sweet music, and I started to get connected to my deep emotion. And as I began to release, what I realized is that me looking to help or save the planet or whatever, I'm missing the point of the beauty of life. And the maturity that I found is there's such beauty in simplicity, that there's beauty just watching my daughter play on the playground, and hopefully not with the cesspool of grossness, but just looking at the simple things and enjoying those little things instead of looking to do the grandiose things. When we start seeing the grandiose and the simplicity, that's when the grandiose kind of comes to us in a natural way instead of forcing or manipulating things to our will.
Yeah, and if you can see the grandiose or the spectacle or the dreams within the simplicity, that's true enlightenment. That's true perspective. That's where you start to really appreciate things in the moment. And for any of you who've ever been that present, it's profound. You realize nothing needs to change. Nothing needs to be developed, cultivated, forced, or made to happen.
What we do doesn't even matter.
Right.
Yeah.
It just is right where it is. And that's that maturation process that we really lived in a microcosm this week. I know me personally, I went through a huge maturity process, and I think on the other side of this maturity is this perspective of moving away from a childhood fairy tale version of dreams and to a more acceptance of reality version of dreams, and realizing that it's still okay to have goals and aspirations, but if you can't appreciate the journey towards said goal, you're missing the whole point.
And it's more that if we're in that destination process, then we're not being. Then we're not really being in our being. We're not realizing we are a dynamic, beautiful being already whole within ourselves. And so what I want us to go to in here is really get this different insight, perspective of ourselves, of our reality, and maybe of the world. Because we may be giving our power for all these external things, but you don't need the external to look like anything other than it already is, to really celebrate yourself and your life. Because if you can't celebrate it, what's the point of trying to change everything else or everyone else, or even grieving the state of the world right now? Can we get to a point of the divine maturity, which is accepting what is?
Right. And so with that, when we get into our meditation today, I want to use the analogy or the metaphor of a facade. Now, the facade, Nikki and I used to work in the entertainment business, and we've been on many sets, and they create what's called a facade. It's literally looks like a building from the front, but when you come around the back, it's just an empty shell.
Yeah.
It's just wooden scaffolding holding up a facade. And so what I want you to do as we get into our meditation, and for those of you who are on Instagram TV, please feel free to follow us on YouTube. You can just look for The Golden Collective on YouTube and watch the rest of our meditation portion of our video there. But as we get into the meditation, I want you to envision yourself staring at this facade, and that facade is your dream. Okay, so your dream it's like a vision board. Imagine it as a vision board or a billboard. Let's say you have a vision board. Imagine your vision board is blown up to the size of a billboard. Okay, you are looking at that billboard. Now, as you move around it, you turn around and you see behind the billboard, you see the reality that it is just an image. It's just an idea, okay? And being okay with that, accepting that, will help to bring you into the moment and be able to appreciate everything around you and more. And you can still
and
work
what really
towards that
matters,
goal.
yeah.
But you want to know that that goal is just an image. It's just an idea. And so with that reality, with that acceptance, it will bring you back into the moment. There may be a little bit of grief involved in that because you realize that it's all just a game, but there's also pure freedom from the delusion or the samsara of this roller coaster of life. So as we breathe in, I want you to take in that image, whatever that image may be, and plaster it up on a billboard for yourself, or a facade, or a wall, or whatever that representation is for you. And then as we exhale, I want you to envision yourself walking around and looking at the other side of it, looking at the back side of the facade, the back side of the billboard, and realizing that it is just an image.
And what I also I want to bring in one more last point is when we have an image of something, it looks so amazing from an outsider's perspective. But a lot of times we don't understand what responsibilities, what sacrifices, what complexity and stress comes with some of the things we're asking for. And we realize when we get there, a lot of times we've had this experience. Once we have it, it loses its shimmer and gleam, and you realize what that actually entails. So by letting go of this facade also is like, maybe it's ripping some of those visions off the vision board, because maybe that's a little bit too much.
And I think it's a lot of realizing that you are not the vision, right? The vision is not you. The vision is part of your journey, and you can choose to change it at any course that you want. You're not committed to the vision just because you committed to it. Unless it's also an opportunity, I guess, for you to check in and go, is this still the vision that I want?
Is this still my dream?
Mm-hmm.
It's like in Rapunzel, Entangled, where she finally gets her dream where she sees the lanterns and she's like, oh shit, what's now what?
Yeah, right.
She doesn't say that because it's Disney, but it's one of those things of like, it's okay to change the dream and get a new dream.
Yeah, and once you achieve your goals, you're going to have to anyways, because otherwise you just sit there and go, there's not much going on. All right, so we talked about a lot of things, so let's dial it back real quick. Envision the dream, envision the vision on a billboard, and then on the in-breath, on the exhale, walk around, see the facade for what it truly is.
Allow that third eye to open from the front and the back to see yourself, your dreams, and your reality with better clarity and vision. I want you to imagine now a vision board filled with all of the things that you think that you want. Notice what's on that vision board: a relationship, a home, a career, a friendship. What do they all look like? But more importantly, what do they really feel like? Feel into them and notice if there's any that really don't serve your highest and greatest good in this moment. See if we can simplify the vision, strip it down layer by layer to find the core truth of what we truly desire. What we're looking for might not be external. It might not be what is actually eluding us. What we desire might be right within us all along. Connecting to the actual truth of what you want. Peace, contentment, happiness. Is it possible right here in this moment? With everything to be what it is imperfection in this moment. And it is what it is. And it is what it is. And it is what it is. And it is. So be it.
Another thought I had as we were going through the meditation is this idea of reaching for something. It pulls you out of the moment. It pulls you out of the present. It pulls you away from what is. And so we live in a society that is dominated with this concept of achievement, of success, of aspiration, which is a double-edged sword. Yes, you can create a better life for yourself, but at what cost? Are you so dedicated to this better life that you are not appreciating the fantastic life that you already have? And are we really splitting hairs here? Because in this country, we really have things pretty darn good. And if you look around and you take inventory of all the things that you have, then you'll realize that the aspirations you have need to fall in line with where you are as a person, not the other way around. You don't need to change yourself to achieve. You need the achievements to reach, to be who you are. And they need to be a representation of you. And so I think that if you have the opportunity here on our Insightful Saturday to sit with that, sit by meaning of meditation, sit with that idea of taking inventory of what you have and realizing that your aspirations may not be something that you desperately need. And they're certainly not something where you need to give up yourself, your true self, in order to achieve them.
Yes, I like that. Thank you, Ryan.
Yeah, well, I live it. I've been one of those aspiring people myself, and yeah, it is just, it can really throw you for a loop because
and it's also riddled with struggle and feeling that core issue of, if I don't have this, then I'm not good enough.
Right.
Why isn't this coming to me? I don't deserve it probably, so then I'm not good enough.
Right.
And we put our value into our achievements instead of realizing the state of our own value right now.
Absolutely.
All right, everyone, thank you for joining us. If you like what we do, you can always subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we genuinely appreciate it. And make sure you ding that little bell so you know that we have some content that will support and help you genuinely, and not just like a lot of the things that are going on in the world. Let's listen to things that really nurture us and support us and come from a place of heart rather than glamour.
Yeah, and if you're looking for a community that will support you in that way, then that's why we created the Golden Collective. Feel free to go ahead and click the link in our bio. It'll take you to that sales page where you can sign up for your 1-week free trial and check it out. Try it out for a week. There's no obligation. They're not gonna hunt you down or nothing. If you don't like it, then
you send me an email
away.
And then it's all good.
Yeah.
No harm, no foul.
Absolutely.
We just want to find our tribe of people who really are being authentic and are needing a place of authenticity, reality, that we're doing this together, and this process isn't perfect. It's not glamorous sometimes. It's not perfect, and that's okay, but we can all celebrate in those little achievements of the deepening within our own self.
And speaking of authenticity, we do have our Authenticity and Communications workshop coming up in, 2 weeks?
Yeah.
2 weeks, oh my.
We have a couple of spots still available. We have a few. Not many, but we have a couple. So if you want to join us in Michigan and just really open in a sweet way, I don't know, I think we're gonna actually have a lot of joy in this one.
Oh, absolutely.
And I don't know, because we've had so much struggle leading up to it. I have a feeling that this one is gonna be a lot of replenishment and
celebration,
love. Yeah. So if you want to join us and you feel connected to that, come and join us. And we will see you again tomorrow for
Spirit Sunday.
All right, everyone. See you tomorrow. Namaste.